Nobodies.
Dude, I'm gonna start making music again too.
Are you really?
I'm so jazzed.
I didn't know you ever did make music.
Oh, it's all I chased in my 20s.
No shit.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Probably from, let's see, I was 23 when I was in Australia, and I was so into like.
I didn't even know you were in Australia, dude.
Dude, so when I was religious, I was like super religious,
I remember that.
right?
Yeah.
So I went to Alabama for college, and then I met this one of my best friends, Adam, and he was a worship leader at a church. And I had like given up on a music dream because I remember in like high school, I'm like, I want to be like, I would listen to like famous like Christian musicians. I was like, I want to be like them.
Love that.
And then I was like, that's a pipe dream. Like it's, not realistic. And so I went to college, but then I, playing in the worship band at church, he was like making like 50 or 60 grand a year. And this is like 20 years ago in the South. So it's good money. And he's just like playing music for Sundays, and like he'd be at the church, like working together, playlist.
That's crazy.
I was like, you could do this for a job. And so, and then there was this big church in Australia that like taught like worship leading and minister stuff. And so I went there. And then
that's
I like,
insane.
But that was when I like lost my faith, and I was like, fuck all of that. But I still wanted to play music.
Yeah.
So then I moved to California to start a band and started like playing music.
That's sick.
And so I chased it like there. And then when I moved to Boise, we played probably for 5 or 6 years. That's all I wanted to do.
No shit.
And then I got burnt out, and then some of my members left, and I was like, fuck all this. I can't keep doing this anymore. So, and
that's
then
crazy.
Started serving again and bartending, and then became a degenerate.
Yeah.
Well, I was a degenerate.
Not a degenerate, but I know it. I didn't know you were in Australia.
Yeah.
No
That was fun.
shit.
I mean, it seems like a lifetime ago, because I'm 39.
Yeah.
So then I was 23. That's 15.
That's crazy.
16 years ago.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go to Australia.
Yeah, it's so pretty.
Yeah.
And I only really went to Sydney, and then I went to the Blue Mountains, which is like a mountain range outside of. But like the Sydney Harbor, oh my God.
It looks insane.
It's so pretty. And there's just like all these cute little restaurants and bars all around the water.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I actually almost went, my mom's cousin, he lives in Australia, and he just went there for like a visit or whatever. Fell in love with this girl. They got married, whatever. And right when I was about to move back home, and it was either between coming here or going to Australia.
Yeah.
Because at the time I was like, I'm 25. Like, why not? And then that didn't really pan out. And so I just was like, yeah, I'll just come home.
Dude, you still could do it. I mean,
no, yeah.
Now?
28.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like anything. Well, do you want kids?
Do I want kids? Yeah.
Okay. So you have like to what, 35 to really like lock it in or something. I mean, 40 if you're pushing it, but I don't know. But yeah, so it's still like you still have a little time to like travel. Or that, like, I have a friend from high school. Her name's Abby Etter. I see her on Facebook still sometimes. But like, we went from K5 the whole way to graduating together.
Damn.
We like in the same class.
That's crazy.
I don't know how religious she still is, because it was like really culty. But
yeah.
She married military, and they have like they're living in Paris right now with like 2 kids.
Isn't that crazy?
And so like, there's a lot of people that just do that. They're like, oh yeah, like married with 2 kids, and we're just going to do this. We're going to do this. And
yeah, that's people that can do that. I think, that just takes a different, like a special person, because like everyone that I've talked to, like, Ivy and all of my friends have kids. And so it's like, but they're like, as soon as you have kids, your life changes.
Yeah.
Like, you're just a different person. So it's the fact that those people can hold on to their dreams and their goals still, and like just take their kids with them.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool.
My sister told me somebody that she met in Scottsdale out at a bar one time, and they had like 2 kids, and she's like, and they would hit her up like every weekend, like, hey, what are you doing? And she's like, how are you guys like going out? And they're like,
what are you doing?
We promised ourselves that we wouldn't let kids make us lame.
Yeah.
And so they were still
awesome.
like always like doing everything, and they work extra hard to get a sitter for Friday nights, or just all this different stuff, because they're like, no, we are going to be still enjoying ourselves and not just become,
That's awesome.
So I feel like you just have to commit to certain things.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's like all these lifestyles that I'm so, I guess, curious about, that like I grew up in such a tiny town in this like bubble, and I didn't know it was possible. Like I remember going on my first cruise, and I would meet like the musician or like a house musician or something. I was like, how did you get to do this thing? And they're like, yeah, I started playing music and I realized, I could just make a living playing on cruise ships. I'm like, I didn't know that was an option.
I didn't even, there's so much shit out there that you don't even think that it's a real reality. Like that someone could actually do that.
Yeah.
That's insane though. I didn't even think on a cruise ship.
Right. Yeah. And there's so many different little like ways to like whatever you're passionate about do. My sister is talking about moving to Mexico and for like 2 or 3 months. And because she met a girl down there who travels for like 3 to 4 months every year. And I'm like, how do you pay for this? I was
gonna say, how do you do that?
But she like picks up little odd jobs. She lives for really cheap in these areas. Like in Mexico, and she's like, she'll find like really cheap areas, and then she'll pick up odd jobs in Mexico, and then when she goes home, she like just picks up bartending jobs and like other like house sits for friends like that she has that live there, etc. And so Lindsay's like, I'm tired of talking about it. I just want to try it.
Yeah, let's just do it.
But she's does like travel contracts, even though she lives always in Scottsdale. So she's going to do a contract, save up a bunch of money.
Yeah.
And then just not have a contract for a while and go down there and see how she does with it. I'm like, well, yeah.
And your sister is a traveling nurse, right?
Yeah.
Those traveling nurses, they kind of that's kind of a cool gig too, because you can go in different places for a month or two.
Yeah.
And then go back home.
And then if you're good with like saving money, then you can also just take a month off.
Yeah.
Which she does all the time.
Yeah. I've got a friend of mine that she lives in Washington, and our friend Christy lives in Texas still.
Yeah.
And so Christy texts me and she goes, hey, I'm trying to get Kayla because Kayla's a traveling nurse. Mm-hmm. She's like, I'm trying to get Kayla to live here with me for like a month or two in the summer. Because her husband, Christy's husband, still comes up here to Idaho and fights fires during the summer. So she's like, I'm by myself for like 4 months. And I was like, oof. I was like, don't tempt me with a good time. I said, I can take you probably a week off. I said, I can't take a month off for my job though.
Yeah.
Like,
dude, that's what my sister said too. She's like, oh yeah, you and Cinda can come down for like a month. I'm like, Lindsay,
how?
Like, Cinda just got a new job. Yeah. Like that's not happening. And
that's
I'm like,
not gonna
I have to cover all my shifts for like a month. My end goal is to do like 2 to 3 months stints here and there. But that's why I want to build this thing and like online stuff. So like at some point this and like doing online videos and YouTube, etc., are paying enough for me to do it from anywhere.
I was gonna say, and this is, I mean, like it's a lot of equipment, but like you said, you can just kind of do it from anywhere. Yeah.
I can take all this with me.
Yeah.
And then, if I can make enough money to survive from a different spot, and then I would still have my house here, so I'll either Airbnb it or keep renting it.
So either way, you're making money on this.
Yeah. Too. And then, or at least paying the mortgage and stuff, so I'm not worrying about it. But I like the idea of like staying at some spot for 2 months. For example, if I go to like Costa Rica, rent out an Airbnb for an extended stay.
Dude, that'd be nuts.
And then I can just have all my friends come visit for a week at a time. Be like, okay, so now you have a free spot. I'm in Costa Rica. I'll be in Costa Rica these days. When do you want to come?
Dude, that'd be sick.
And then when they come, then we just podcast there, right? And so then I'm chilling there and people have a free spot, so it's cheaper for them to, travel.
That'd be so freaking cool.
Yeah. Because I fucking love like going overseas. It's unreal.
I've never been out of the country. Yeah. Never been out of the country. But for Ivy's bachelor party, we're going to Mexico.
Yeah.
In fact, I just booked it yesterday.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm so excited.
Dude, Mexico is the best.
I'm so excited. And we did like an all-inclusive, adults only.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Because I asked Ivy, I was like, listen, like most of the people that are going, well, some of the people that are going have kids.
Right.
So I'm like, do you guys want, doesn't matter. Like we're doing all-inclusive either way.
Right.
And I was like, but there's no kids and then there is kids. And Ivy was like, yeah, let's do no kids.
Yeah.
I said, gotcha.
Dude, that's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
I've done Mexico probably the most of any country, but it's just easier. But I fucking love Mexico. Yeah, it is.
I really want to go to Thailand, actually.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I booked a trip to Thailand and then like COVID re-happened or whatever and everything. And I was like, fuck.
That's frustrating.
But like I had booked 3 different trips because they were doing all the like flights where you could return them if you wanted at any time.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I might as well buy them.
Yeah.
And then I returned all the trips, but one of them was Thailand.
My roommate and I were talking about Thailand yesterday, actually, because she was wanting to go. And I was like, yeah, like, let me talk to Ivy about it.
Yeah.
And I think someone was telling me they'd gone to Thailand, but everything's so cheap over there. Like it's like $2 for like a ton of shit at the gas station.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's dirt cheap.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's just getting over there is probably the hardest part.
Yeah, or the most expensive, I think. Yeah. Yeah, because I went to, I mean, that's where I got turned on to Thailand was Ivy. And my sister's been in Thailand too. And then I did Bali.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you went to Bali.
And Bali
that was recent, wasn't it?
2020, which it was right before COVID.
God, it feels like
COVID was 5 years ago.
That's so weird to think.
Nuts.
That's so weird to think because I thought it was way more recent than that.
Yeah, me too. And I was like, holy fuck, it's 2020. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get like those snap memories or whatever, And I was like, oh fuck, dude.
That's nuts.
Yeah. But yeah, so I was flying back from Bali when like over there people were starting to freak out about COVID. I was like, what is this thing? And then I got back to the States and people are like, you didn't bring back the COVID, did you? And I was like, no. And then all of a sudden everything shut down. You're like, what the fuck?
You're like, shit, maybe I did.
Yeah.
Because we talked about, I saw it on like TikTok or something. These people went to like Bali, and I think you and I were talking about it. It's like Bali belly.
Yeah.
But you were drinking alcohol, and you're like, yeah, I never got it.
Yeah, I was the only one in my group.
Oh,
I don't know if it's from the liquor, but I just like to say that.
Yeah.
Because like, nobody else was really drinking, and I was like, dude, I like to get fucked up when I travel. And
and you're in a gorgeous place, like.
Yeah.
Why not? Relax a little bit.
Yeah. You're going to different restaurants, like have some cocktails and stuff. And dude, I was drinking like the fruit smoothies, and they're like, you can't drink the water with the ice, like blah blah. I'm like, dude,
I didn't even think about that.
Somebody else got sick in Mexico because of that. But normally the nice resort / nice restaurants will ship in the ice. Like they don't use ice made from water there.
I mean, it makes sense if people are going there for like a resort vacation from the US or whatever, they're not gonna like use ice from Mexico.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably something you guys want to check on the resort or whatever, and just make sure that like their ice is shipped in.
I didn't even think about that.
But you can definitely like buy your own water bottles and stuff.
Yeah.
But,
did you do any like excursions when you were in Mexico?
I did we rented a yacht in Cabo. So we did that. I did in Hawaii, we swam with the manta rays. We took acid before that.
Oh, and that Jesus.
Was terrifying.
I was going to say, I would feel like they were going to eat me.
Yeah. Oh, it looked like they were, dude. Yeah, that was actually really scary.
Because manta rays are huge.
Dude, they're like 20 foot. Well, the one that we saw was 20 foot wide.
No, and absolutely not.
We didn't really mean to take acid to go see the manta rays. Yeah. We had took acid like way in the morning, and we went over like this beach, and we kind of were like, oh yeah, we forgot our excursion is that night. And so it was like 10 hours after, and we were still tripping balls.
Was it during the daytime or nighttime?
No, we went because at night is when they get is when they come out, because the lights from the hotel shine up and all the plankton go around the lights, which and then the manta rays eat plankton.
Yeah.
And so that's the like time to see them. So they bring you out on this boat, and like me and my girlfriend, she's freaking out. And then you're putting on this wetsuit, and she's like, I'm gonna throw up. I was like, I don't know what to do.
You're like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
We should have just bailed. Like we should have been like, let's just not do this.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, it's a funny story now, but we were freaking the fuck out.
I can't even imagine.
Going out on this boat, and then they're like, all right, get in. And we're like, oh, and we go in, and dude, and they were saying like, we might not see any. You might see up to 2 or 3. You might see, like up to 2 or 3. There was 5. And
oh my God. And 20 foot long.
As soon as I literally get into the water, and as soon as I put my head down, it's just massive sea monster fucking swimming. And what they like, you know how like they're floating like this, but when they eat, they swim up backwards, and their mouth is open, so it's just coming up at you. And I was just like, oh, Jesus Christ. Dude, on acid. Oh my God. It was pretty bad. And there was other like Asian girls and some other people, and like I heard some of them like screaming and stuff, and I was like, that's how I feel, but I was just
You're
trying
like,
all it together.
Same boat, dude.
Yeah.
I will never forget when we went to Ivy, Emma and I went to the coast, and we just got like obliterated drunk I think we were there for 3 nights, maybe 2 or 3 nights, and then we went to Portland for the last night. And we just got like obliterated. And so the first night we go to like we all walking out in the ocean and we're all fucking plastered. And I'm up ahead and it goes Emma and then Ivy's behind us and she goes, that wave's bigger than we think, turns around, books it. And so we start trying to run. Well, Emma's absolutely terrified of the ocean.
Yeah.
And so she's trying to run while she's like weaving in and out because she's so drunk. And I start laughing. Well, this wave hits me from behind.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whatever. But it takes Emma out. And all of a sudden, it's like slow motion. She just falls. Her hair goes flying. I have never laughed that hard. And then she was wearing like a bodysuit. So she took her pants off. And we're just sitting at the beach at night. And these fucking people are like, hey, do you want to come by our bonfire or whatever? So Emma walks up pantless. Looks like she's in a fucking like onesie bathing suit. Yeah. Oh my God, it was so funny. But I will never forget the fear of God in her eyes when that wave took her out.
Oh my God. Yeah, those so kind of, there's certain areas that can be like super scary because of like the riptides and stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, people, you know, you're wasted, you're just like stumble along the beach, and you just ripped out.
That's why Ivy was like, that wave's bigger than we think, we gotta go.
Yeah. Fuck, dude.
So bad.
Yeah, my sister was saying that she met that girl that lives in Mexico or had like stayed in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
She met her out in the water or maybe she met her on the beach or something, but they went out and started swimming in the water and they almost died. Because like she's like out there and they just kept getting pulled out and like Lindsay's like, I'm not good at swimming, you know, like, and the other girl's like a lifeguard and stuff. She's like, oh, it'll be fine. And then like, like this other girl like had to like help her get in, but she's like, we were out there for an hour.
No,
and I was just like struggling and like nobody was like around paying attention to us. These other guys that were out there like already swam in, didn't help us. And so she's like, I literally thought I was going to drown out there because like no matter how much I swam, I couldn't get any closer and all this stuff.
And that's terrifying. Yeah. And you'd have to be exhausted.
Oh God, yeah.
Like, and obviously if the other lady was a lifeguard or whatever, but at the same time, you're fighting the ocean.
Yeah.
Like you've got to be exhausted. Doesn't matter how much skill you have.
Yeah. That's like the most powerful fucking force.
Yeah. Oh no, that would freak me out.
But so they became like friends after that, and then they've just been like really good friends ever since.
Crazy.
They're like, yeah, remember when we almost died together?
Oh shit, right? And they probably both didn't want to say it out loud at the time. Like, hey, this is kind of sketch. This isn't good.
Speaking of excursions, though, we did one in Aruba, which is like if you can get one of these, it's really cool. It was like a booze cruise, and it's all you can drink on the ship. And they took us out snorkeling somewhere, and it was like this dressed up like a pirate ship. So we're all like,
that's freaking sick.
And it was like all you can drink, so we're getting trashed. And then there's a rope swing off the ship, so we're doing like the rope swing, jumping in the ocean.
Sick.
And then they took us out to the shipwreck. You can go down, dive around, and like see like this area of the shipwreck is really cool.
That's crazy.
And we got really hammered though, and it has like a motor on it, so it's not like an actual fucking pirate ship.
Obviously,
so it's like putting along, and there's we're like standing on the edge, and there's all these ropes, like so I'm like standing on the edge, just holding a rope, and Lindsay's just like bah, 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 and just slips and falls off. And
falls off the ship?
Yeah. Well, it's just going back to shore. And it's like, I like try to grab her. I'm like, whoa! And then everybody who saw it thought I pushed her because they just see me doing
saw you go like that. Oh my God.
But so they have like a little, I don't know, tiny little boat that like motorboat that goes and went and grabbed her, brought her in.
God, that's crazy.
So we're like, dude, how often do people fall off this? Probably all the time. They're like, oh, like once a year. I was like, oh Jesus, it's not even that much. But they have that little boat just
in case. Yeah. But you'd think it'd be way more than that if people are like hammered.
Yeah, dude.
Like acting like pirates.
Getting hammered, right? Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. That's actually a really good idea, though.
Yeah.
I bet that'd be a lot of fun. So if they have
any sort of like that kind of thing, that's a really fun adventure. But no, awesome. I haven't done a lot, I guess.
When we went to Hawaii, so it was like during COVID, I was living in Utah, and there was like 7 of us girls that went.
Yeah.
And we did snorkeling. We did like a sunset cruise. And then zip lining.
Oh yeah.
And that was fun.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like whatever resort you stay at, they normally offer some.
Yeah.
And then you can find some other local ones and stuff. Yeah, dude, all that shit's fun.
Oh yeah,
I really want to do an all inclusive soon because I like going to other countries not on an all inclusive and like going just experiencing culture and whatever.
Yeah.
But that is also a lot of work. You know, you're like planning. If there's a big group, you're like, oh, we got to get reservations. We got to go here. So it is nice to just be like, let's walk to the beach, you know?
And that was kind of like something. So I'm not the planner at all. Like, but since I'm the maid of honor, obviously I'm, you know, taking a lot of initiative to plan and shit. But it's just like, fuck, this is hard.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's only 6 of us girls going, but it's like, still, like, you want to make sure that everything's like good. Like, we have our flights, we have everything. Like, go to dinner, and it's a bachelorette party, so it's like obviously there's going to be like theme nights.
Right.
So I don't know. Yeah, we'll see.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
When? So hers is September. So when are you?
We're going in May.
Okay.
The week before. Is it Labor Day or Memorial that's in May?
I don't know.
It's the week before that.
One of those I don't pay attention to.
Yeah. So we're doing that, and yeah, I'm pretty stoked.
Yeah, I can't believe you've never been out of the country. That's wild.
No, and it's crazy because like since I was 18, so in the 10 years since I graduated high school, I've lived in 5 states, but I've never been out of the country.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things I wanted to ask you about. Look at that.
I know, I saw it. Moving to Utah. At first, I was like reading it. I was like, are you moving to Utah? I was like, oh, no, me.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, because like you just up and went, right? Did you know anybody down there?
Yeah, so the gal that I met in college, she also took me to Colorado because she got an assistant job there, like a rodeo coach. So she took me there, and I lived there for like a school year, so 9 months.
Yeah.
And then moved back to live with her and her parents for a summer. Went back to college. And then after I graduated college, I came back here and was kind of like in a rut. I was just like, I wasn't rodeoing anymore. I was working at Rudy's. I was working at Dutch at the same time. So it was like,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I worked at Dutch for 2 years. Isn't that crazy? And so anyway, I called her. And it was always a thing like, hey, you can just move down here because she was married. She's like, you can just move down here with us. You can live, you know, figure it out. Whatever you want to do, you could rodeo, all this stuff. So I originally went down there because I was going to go after a 2nd degree. And then COVID hit, and it was in the medical field. So I saw like how COVID affected the medical field. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to be told what to do, you know, with the vaccine and stuff. So then I just kind of quit that and just stayed there for 2 years and loved it. Yeah. But I got really, really homesick.
For sure. Because you were like in a small town, right?
Yeah. So where we lived, it was like 2.5 hours south of Salt Lake.
Yeah.
And like we had a Walmart, but that was about it. Like if we had to go shopping, we had to drive up to Spanish Fork, which was like an hour and a half away.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have any like bars or anything?
We had one bar in town.
Because Utah still has some dry counties, don't they?
Yes. Yeah.
That.
Yeah. And the alcohol content is half.
Yeah.
Or it used to be. I don't know if it is anymore.
Yeah, I think they've changed a lot. Because the last time I was down there, we went for a show pretty recently in like Salt Lake, and I was just like, yeah, what's the best way to drink booze for the most ABV? And they're like, oh no, whatever, you know, with this. I was like, oh, I could have swore it was.
Yeah, and I think it must have changed because I heard that they like upped it or lowered it when I was living there, and I was like, well, this is a bunch of bullshit. Like, so every time I went to Idaho before I crossed the border, I'd buy a bunch of booze and then just bring it home with me because there's way better like options and stuff. Yeah. But I didn't really drink that much when I was in Utah.
Yeah.
Just because like no one else did. Like my roommates didn't. They were Mormon, and my friend, I had a really good friend of mine. She drank, but not much. Yeah. Like it was just, we didn't really.
I would get nervous if I did something like that I would drink more. Cause
I thought so too.
When I quit Rudy's and I was just full-time photo video for that year and a half, I was just, I don't know what it was. Like I started getting really depressed. I drank so much, and I'm just like, well, I'm alone doing nothing. So and it just like made me want to drink more.
And I thought I would be the same way.
No.
But I was like busy. Like I had a routine. I mean, I was in the best shape of my life when I lived in Utah because I would get up at 5 a.m., go to the gym, go to work like a 10-hour shift, sometimes 12, and then would go home and rope. So it was like I had a very set routine.
Do they call that pushing rope?
No. No. No, but
that's
you
the other
push
thing
rope.
I do.
Yes.
I actually thought of that joke when I saw your hat. I was like, oh, that'd be funny if it just said pushing rope.
Dude, I wore a hat last night. Okay, so this is really funny. I bought this hat and it's from Slapdick Cattle Company. And it's hilarious.
Like I was thinking slapstick comedy, but yeah,
Slapdick Cattle Company, and it's hilarious. So I bought these 2 hats as like a joke because I thought they were hilarious. And like one says like slapdick, and it's pretty like big on the patch. And then at the bottom it says like guaranteed to get you off. And so I was like, I'm gonna wear this in town and see how many people I piss off.
Yeah.
And we go to Eagle, and the first like 5 minutes we sit at this restaurant. And this gal comes up to me and she goes, hey, like, I have a weird question. Like, it's kind of about your hat. And I was like, oh, fuck, here we go. Yeah. Like, I pissed off some, housewife.
Well, yeah.
And she was like, no, she told me the story about how her husband was in the military back east. And him and his friends always call each other slapdicks.
Oh, no way.
And so she's like, where'd you buy that? Like, I want to buy one for my husband.
Yeah.
And so it was just really funny. But everyone was calling me slapdick last night. And it was just... It's just so funny.
Did you have anybody like pissed off that talked to you?
Mm-mm.
I feel like those kind of people don't say anything. And it's just the people that appreciate it or like...
They're going to say, hey, that's a sick hat.
Yeah, that's cool.
And we went to like a few, like, we bounced around bars, like just day drinking in Eagle. And then we went to Suds.
Yeah.
And I was for sure thinking someone was going to like say something, but no one really did.
Damn, you went out in Eagle and then went to Suds?
Yeah, no, crazy. Well, my roommate left her car downtown Friday night.
Yeah.
So we had to go get her.
That's funny. But. Todd Dannenberg brought in a hat once and it's just at a rooster, said cock.
Love
and
that.
He's like, would you wear this? I'm like, I'll totally wear that. So he gave it to me. I wore it I lost it, I think. But
oh, God.
Yeah.
Pee break?
Yeah, pee break.
Cool.
We'll be back. Keep talking to me about Atomic Habits. I like that.
Yeah.
So you quit
vaping
by after the book.
Yeah.
But like, how did you, because so you said you were vaping when you were in the car and then vaping when you drank.
Mm-hmm.
So then how did you stop that desire if you still drank and still got in cars?
It was honestly just like, because I really don't have an addictive personality. Like, I'm kind of like you. Like, if I don't want to do something, I'll just like shut it off.
Yeah. But I want to do it. So
yeah. But like, and I was the same way. Like, it was just like mentally like kind of keeping myself in check. Like, if I would drive and I'd be like, God, a vape sounds really good right now. Like, I would kind of, first of all, I wouldn't have one. Like, I got rid of all the ones that I had.
That's really helpful.
And so it's like, when I wanted one, I was like, okay, well, kind of check myself a little bit. Like, the only reason why you're doing that or wanting one is because it's a habit.
Right.
Like, your body doesn't need it. Like, it's not craving it.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, kind of just giving myself those little mental pep talks. Or it was like, if I didn't have one, I want to go buy one. It's like, well, I could use that money towards something else.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
And so it was just like kind of just mentally keep myself in check.
Wasn't in the book, didn't they talk about how after the craving only lasts for like a couple minutes and then it's gone?
Yeah.
So you just have to push through that few minutes. And I think that's where I learned it. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Like, so when you have that initial hit, you know, it's just like, okay, just push through.
You just have to talk yourself like out of it.
And that also happens. Me and Severo he was on recently. We were talking about that too, because he did dry January and then he's still not drinking. But he's like, yeah, there was a moment, a couple different nights where I was out and my friends were like, oh, come on, just have one shot with us. And he's like, I really wanted to. And then he's like, and then I didn't, or like that was the hard night. And then I decided just to go home. And then it was fine. And then the next day I didn't have it. You know, it's like, oh yeah, it was just, you have to get over those little hurdles.
Yeah. And it's originally like the initial first one, like the first craving where you're like, oh, I want to do it. And it's like, that's going to be the hardest one to get over.
Yeah.
Because like, if you keep doing it over and over, your body's originally going to be like, okay, well, you broke that habit. So you're not going to crave it.
Yeah. You're like you're creating a new pathway for that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. That's dope. Atomic Habits is a really good book. It's so like, another thing I liked about it was the idea of you have to build the habit before you grow the overall practice. So he talks about go to the gym for 2 minutes and just be there. Like, even if you don't do anything, it's just the habit of getting your ass, driving and going. Yeah. And obviously, I mean, make it 5 if you want, but it's like, it doesn't. And people are always like, oh, I need to go to the gym. So, and then they start with 2 hours a day and it's just like way too much. And then they just stop. Yeah. Versus like, no, just create the habit. You do it a little bit. And then once you're used to it, then you can up it.
Yeah. And that's like when kind of like going back to Utah when I was in the best shape because I had made a habit of, hey, I need to get up at 5, go to the gym.
Yeah.
And then go to work and then rope. Like that was my routine. And obviously it didn't happen like that all the time, but I'm one of those people that I need like a routine. Mm-hmm. Like it helps me out. So working from home has kind of threw my world upside down a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's like at first I was like, well, shit, I got all day to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Like I have all day. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, I have to go to the bar now to work. Mm-hmm. So it's like, yeah, I don't have time now. So creating that routine has really helped. And like the 75 medium, like I kind of made it my own way in like a sense, few things, but like I worked out 5 times a week and I wanted to start running more. So I ran 5 miles a week and then drinking on special occasions, like just little stuff like that. And I didn't stick with it for a week, but it also helped me build those habits. So it really changed my lifestyle anyway.
Yeah.
Because I'm working out a lot more. I'm eating a lot better.
That's good.
Yeah. So it's just, and that book helped out a lot too.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I feel like I'm doing a lot better now, but I used to go through these phases where I get super inspired and you're like listening to some podcasts and you're like, all right, starting Monday, I'm going to work out every day and I'm going to eat like this and I'm going to do my journaling and I'm going to do, and then it's just like you try all these things.
And it's just it's shock.
So many. And then 2 days and you're like, dude, that's way too much shit. And then you don't do any of them. And the book was just like, no, just start with fucking one. Do one little change.
You don't have to put 10 things on your like to-do list the next day. Yeah.
That's another, dude, one of the things I learned, it's so good. There's a book called The Gap and the Gain. And it's very simple in its wording. I mean, I feel like it reads at like a 6th grade level or 8th. I mean, it's very basic, but the principles are so like really profound. And basically, it was the first book I read on 75 Hard when it's like the 10 days. And it's just been sitting on my shelf for 2 years. I really wish I would have read it sooner. But basically, so it works for anybody, not just like business. But what like you measure like how you're doing based on an ideal, like, or this is how we do it. Yeah. So we're like, I want to be in shape. I want to fit this. I want to look this way.
How are you going to do it?
But what I'm saying is like, so you could be working on your thing, but you keep measuring yourself to this ideal, a standard. But if you were to get to that standard would move because you would have like a new thing that you're going to measure yourself against. So basically you're always unhappy because you're living in this state of, I haven't made it there yet.
You keep reaching.
Yeah. And like, for example, you said to-do list, it reminded me. So it's just like, I created 10 things on my to-do list and I only got 8 done. See, I didn't finish my to-do list because you're measuring against the ideal.
Yeah.
And so that's called the gap. You're living in the gap and that's why so many entrepreneurs are unhappy. And so it's like, instead you need to measure backwards against where you started. And that's the gain. And so then
it's so smart.
Yeah, it's like a simple little switch. Yeah. And so then it's like at the end of the day when you only got 8 out of, you're like, I didn't get my 10. It's like, no, I did fucking 8 things.
Yeah.
And so then like the final part of the book was like, so what you want to do, like the most important time is at night or your last hour is to look back and look at how much you achieved.
That's cool.
And so that leaves you into like a mode of inspiration. You're like, holy shit, I did a lot today. I did this, I did this, I did this. So it has you and that's what I'm trying to work on now. So start tracking the things that because I'm constantly, it applies so much to me. I'm constantly feeling like I'm not doing enough. I'm like, fuck, dude, I didn't get anything done. I still have all these things. It took me all week and I didn't even do that. I didn't do that. And I have this feeling of like angst, frustration, all the time.
I'm the same thing. Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, this is not the way to live. Like, because I'm like, am I going to feel this way the whole time as I'm chasing my goals?
Yeah.
Like that sucks. And then like for the podcast, I'm like, if I have a goal of, 1,000 subscribers, well, when I get there, I'm going to move the goal anyway. So I'm like, fuck, I still haven't got my goal.
But it's like, look at how far I've came.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I'm starting to implement that practice at the end of
I like
the night and be like, dude, okay, so what did I do today? Well, I fucking did all of my 75 hard shit, even if it's just that's a lot of shit.
No, it's huge.
But yeah, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I emailed them. I've been meaning to do that. Oh, I did this. And then you write it down. And then he's like, so now you're sleeping better because you're going to bed happy,
less anxious,
achieved, like fulfilled.
That's so smart.
And it's like, do you want to be like, you want to live in a sense of like, I'm working towards things. I'm getting better every day instead of just constantly being fucking like frustrated. Pissed.
Yeah. No. And I'm glad you brought that up because I fight that too. Like if I don't, okay, I've got to get all this shit done today. Then if I don't do it, it's like, well, that didn't work out. Like that was, I didn't do shit today. And it's like, you don't want to feel that way because that sucks.
Yeah.
So that's a really like interesting way of thinking about it.
Yeah. I was talking to Ian just yesterday about it too, or a couple of days. And he's like, oh yeah. He's like, I have a little journal that I have my to-do lists, but I, instead of crossing them out, I highlight them. And he's just like, so now when I can look back on my week, I'm like, oh yeah, I got that. That's cool. I'm like, yeah, because I normally just erase them. So then I forget what I've done. Yeah. And I'm like, oh shit, I should start keeping track of like just those things. So
I have a huge, and just recently, like the past 2 years or something, but I've always, like last year and this year, I've wrote down a list of all the shit I want to do, like resolutions, I guess you could say. Yeah. But instead of erasing them, I just check them off.
Yeah.
So like last year, 2024, I checked off, I think I had like 50 something resolutions and I checked off like 30 of them.
Holy shit.
So it was like, that was super cool. It was like, okay, like.
Yeah. So that is measuring against the gain. Yeah, or like, you're seeing back from when you started and you're seeing all the things you did. Yeah. That's exactly the premise.
And so like this year, like I've got a shit ton of goals because I like am finally feeling better after moving back from Texas.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm actually back to myself again. But so I've got a lot of shit, like a lot of goals, and I have them written down on my phone. And I already like pre-planning. I already know I'm gonna check like half of them off.
Yeah, dude, that's so dope.
So it's cool, and so that's like another thing. It's like it's making goals that are measurable. Mm-hmm. And there's like something.
What do they call SMART goals?
SMART goals, yeah.
Yeah. What do they say? Is it? Oh, fuck, I can't remember. I know one is measurable, attainable.
Reasonable.
One of them is trackable. Like it can't just be an idea, like the time you're gonna be completed.
Yeah, I can't remember that, but I remember in high school they would like make that, and we're like, yeah, what the fuck ever.
Dude, I wish I learned any of this shit in high school. All I learned is about God. I swear.
Which is a crazy thing because.
Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound.
Yes, I would say I knew there was one that
specific is what I like because people are like, "Oh, I want to drink less," and then people are like, "What does that look like?"
Because is it like 1 to 2 days a week?
Right. If you don't have it, then it's just like it just flies.
Yeah, and that's something that I've learned. Just the older I've gotten, it's like you can say that you're going to do something, but and this is another thing that the Atomic Habits. You have to make a plan to do that. Mm-hmm. Like you can't just be like, "Oh, I'm going to do that," but then you have nowhere to start.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing.
That's what I'm hoping to do with this whiteboard. Mm-hmm. A little bit is because I had all these ideas of what I want to do for my week, my month.
Yeah.
But when they're not written down, I'm working with a therapist about it too, which has been helpful. Normally I would like feel like you go to therapy to work out trauma or whatever, and I'm like in therapy and I'm like, will you help me organize my day?
No, but seriously, that's something that I think that's awesome. You're going to therapy.
Yeah. I like talking to people. I like talking shit out. Mm-hmm. And of course I like talking. I do a podcast.
Yeah. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah. But so yeah, she was saying, she thinks I'm super ADD, which is pretty apparent, I guess. But I just never really noticed it before until like people started calling me out.
Well, and that's why it's probably hard for you to like zone in and make that like make a plan for your day.
Yeah. And then also she was like, you have all of these ideas that are bouncing around your head, and because you don't put them on paper, they just keep distracting you and they're just flooding. And so you need to empty your brain so that way at least you have a plan for when things get done. Now it's out of your head. So when other ideas, so then you can be more creative for one, and then you can also be more focused in getting things done. So that's kind of helpful. And that's why I have like the list of things I want to achieve. I write that down. I have my idea page. If I have song ideas, wherever that goes, like get it out of your brain right away, record it, something.
Yeah.
And then with the schedule, even if I'm not getting those done, at least I have time dedicated for this and this. And then if I have to move it, I do.
Well, at least you can see it every day.
Yeah.
I think another thing with goals is, or like wanting to get shit done, if you don't see it, your brain doesn't like connect to it. Like it doesn't attach to it. So it's like the 75 hard. Like when I was looking at that, I was like, dude, that's sick. Because you see that every day.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I need to cross like 3 days off.
Do you know who Huberman is? Andrew Huberman? He's like a pretty big on social media scientist / doctor, and he does a very informational podcast, always about medicine or biohacking or productivity hacking. He's very in the weeds. Like I don't think I can listen to him that much, but Cinda listens to him all the time. But he is very popular, and so I'll hear clips and stuff from him. But one of the things he was saying about, he has this whole episode on goals, which I really liked, or achieving things. And he was saying there's this thing that I used to do, and I still do, is just like write things that are important on the mirror. So I'm like, oh, this month I want this. But he's like, what happens is your brain acclimates to your surroundings. It's why if you live on the beach, you stop appreciating it. So, you know, like if whatever you are, you don't notice it. She's like, so that also happens with that word. After a couple days, it becomes just part of the environment. So he said to make sure you're focused on it, you rewrite it every day. So you
like erase it.
Yeah, so that's what I've been practicing now.
That's interesting.
Is like the thing that I want to focus on the most, I rewrite it, because if it just stays there, it'll blend in and I won't think about it.
Well, and you'll just see it and you'll be like, oh yeah, I'll get to it.
Yeah.
But like the fact that you keep like kind of reminding yourself every single day.
And if I'm writing a week schedule down every week, like that's re-upping that. So I'm putting it down. And then like with my mirror, I just have like a thing that I'm focused on or I want to remind myself of. And mostly it's like I write like thankful or I love you or like stay driven or, you know, just something that like if I'm struggling with something, I'll be like, fucking
just write it down.
Yeah.
And that's like something that because I recently got into therapy too. And she like, I've kept like a planner, and the planner that I found, it's awesome. It like does week by week. So you just focus on 1 week, you know, and then it has like a to-do list. So like you can check them off, whatever. Cause I'm a huge person, make lists. Like I check it off. It makes me like kind of like an endorphin. Like, oh, I did that, you know? So I did that. And then there's like a notes. So like I write everything that happened that week. Yeah. And it's also kind of cool. Cause like now I know, okay, like I'm not at rock bottom. I'll say I'm not, but like I'm here, and at the end of the year, I'm here, and I can look back and be like, oh, watch that progression. Yeah. Which I'm like super stoked for.
Yeah. Dude, 25 is going to be a good year. I
have a really good feeling
for 25.
Yeah.
And I know I felt that in 2020.
Right before COVID hit.
I did. I was in Bali. I'm like, dude, this year's going to be awesome.
Shut down. Everything's shut down.
Oh, man. Fuck. No, I really think so. I've got
a good feeling.
So you, when, like, how was your experience in Texas and where'd you go?
So I lived in Fort Worth.
Okay.
So I love Texas. I think there was a part of me that is frustrated because I feel like I got robbed from the experience.
Yeah.
So like I have 2 really good friends. Like I'm in a wedding at the end of, so I was only in Texas for 5 months.
Okay.
And it was like, the first week that I moved there, my dad passed. So I was like 24 hours from home, from all my family, all my friends. And like, I just felt alone. Like, and the sad thing is I was there with my ex-fiance. And so it was like, you would think that he would
step in. Did I know that you got engaged? I don't know.
So I got engaged December, and then we moved to Texas in January.
Yeah, I guess I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so, but like he was not there, whatever. And I didn't realize it until I was talking to my therapist about it last week. And she's like, so you were at rock bottom in Texas. And I was like, well, I didn't feel like it. And she's like, no, you're just in survival mode. So you didn't know.
Right.
And I was like, fuck, yeah, I guess I was.
And when you like look back on it, you're like, oh yeah, this thing, this thing, this thing.
Like I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't like our apartment. I didn't want to like work out. Like, but so I'm in a wedding at the end of this month. And so the 5 months that I was there, I met a coworker of mine, and her and I, so we worked at like a clothing store. So we had to go to like the warehouse. So it was like an hour drive.
Yeah.
And it was just her and I, and we got so close because she said something to me, and I was like, oh yeah, like my dad passed, and she was like, oh, I'm sorry, like when did that happen? I was like, oh, like last month. She was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, and so she lost her dad at 18.
Oh, okay.
So it was like, I know you like grew up like religious and stuff, but literally, and her name's Hope. And so like God was like,
Hope
yeah.
What? Oh, she's from Texas.
Yeah. He was like, yeah. He's like, you're alone. I'm just going to give this little tiny person to you. Because she's like shorter than me, which is crazy. Right. But yeah, like I'm in her wedding and I was only there for 5 months. Like it's a crazy thing. So I love Texas. Yeah. I love it. I probably would move back if I could.
Want to go to Austin?
No, we were talking about it. Yeah. So I lived in Fort Worth and I loved Fort Worth.
Yeah.
But we were talking about Austin.
I want to move to Austin. We'll see when I can make it happen. But I really do want to move.
Dude, I am not gonna lie, I love Texas. I think that's why Emma's still there.
Yeah.
Because like Texas is sick.
Dude, I've only really been to Austin twice and like driven through, but every time I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
And like the liberal in me is all like, Texas. But like then you go down, I'm like, no, this is really cool.
No, it's actually like really cool. And so yeah, we're flying down there like the end of this month. And then another friend of mine's getting married in Stephenville. Yeah. So she was like, here, send me your address and I'll send you an invite. And I'm like,
yeah. Dude, you got a lot of weddings coming up.
Yeah. I'll be in 2 weddings this year.
Damn.
Just this year. And then I'll probably go to the other one in Texas.
Damn, you're more popular than me.
Oh shit, I don't know about that.
I was getting on my high horse, or my head was getting big because I got recognized for my podcast and I thought it was so cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then Cinda said 2 people at work like, oh yeah, we know Josh's podcast, and I was like,
that's cool.
What?
You're like, holy shit, dude.
But then I'm like, but I feel like the sign of if you're popular is if how many weddings you're in, and I was like, I've only been in one in like 10 years. I'm like, I'm actually not that cool.
No, I think it's just, I don't know, like circles are kept close.
Yeah. Well, and also there's just like just different. Like all of my friends are now starting to get married, so I feel like I'll have a lot of weddings coming up. Sure. But before it was like there was just not. All of my friends were single.
I was only up until 2 years ago. Up until 2 years ago, I was the maid of honor at my friend in Utah. I was the maid of honor in her wedding, and so up until then, before then, I was only in 2, and it was my cousins. Yeah, and it was literally like they were both sisters. And it was literally just me and the other sister. Yeah. In both weddings. So I'm at the age where everyone's getting married now.
Yeah. It is starting to pop. And a lot of my friends are younger, like your age, or that late 20s to early 30s age. Yeah. So I feel like it'll start popping more. I fucking love weddings. And I'm not even too. Like everyone knows I don't really believe in marriage, or at least for myself. Right. I don't give a fuck if people get married, but it's like I don't want it. Right. But I still love it. Like it's so pretty and fun, and like everyone's just so excited about like,
and it's just hopeful. Like a special day. Yeah. Like it really is. And like seeing like your friends like glammed up to the best they're gonna ever look. Like they're in suits, they're in dresses, like all this stuff. Like it's so exciting. And I went with Ivy to the dress shopping last week, and we FaceTimed Emma. Like I had Emma as my phone, and I like propped her up in a chair, and it was just me, Ivy, her mom, and her grandma, and then Emma was on FaceTime. And dude, like she walked out in her dress, and me and Emma both just immediately. And she was like, Haylie, and I was like, don't look at me. Like, and she goes, I didn't even cry, and I was like, yeah, don't worry. Me and Emma did it for you. Yeah. Like Emma's like wiping her tears.
Dude, I miss Emma so much.
I do too. I'm so excited like to see her when we go to Mexico. Yeah. Like I'm really excited.
Dude, I wonder if I can fucking go on my own and just
go see her.
No. I mean, go to the same week, same resort, and crash your fucking bachelorette party.
Dude, it's gonna be fun. Like we've got a good group that's going.
Yeah. No, it'll be dope. I love getting to see my friends once a year at least. Like that's kind of. It's really hard to make it happen when you have people spread out everywhere. And
for sure.
I really want to make a point to see my family once a year. It's just like, fuck, dude, that's once a year. And then, I mean, I haven't gone to see Emma, but she comes back, so it's helpful, But I do want to go. We will we are planning on going to Austin to visit this year. So
Good.
hopefully we can figure out a way to either get down there, have her come up.
Yeah.
Then obviously she's back for like the weddings or the holidays, etc. But then I have like friends in California, friends in like my buddy in Vegas. And so it's just like, I really want to try to hit everywhere once a year, but because it is nice. I mean, people really do appreciate it. Like when they are alone or like don't have a lot and you put in the effort to come see them.
100%. Pee break, but I want to talk more about this.
Yeah.
Because I've got friends that are spread out.
We're gonna come back to that. Okay, pee break. Isn't this fun?
I really enjoy this.
It's crazy.
This is a lot of fun.
It's crazy how it is one of my favorite things to sit at a bar and talk to my friends. So why wouldn't it translate? But I look forward to it so fucking much.
No, this is awesome.
And that's why I was like, dude, when I get to a point where this is my job, that'll be like, I'm like,
so much
who
fun.
do I get to talk to today?
Yeah.
Like, it's so fun.
No, I love that. That is, this is awesome. And like, when you text me, I was like, yeah, dude, like for sure. Yeah,
I'm trying to work on my list more because I mean, I have a bunch of friends that I want to invite on. I do an expand and like shoot for like bigger gets, you know. I got to re-up my vision board because I have I don't know if you saw this on the hall out there, but I have a picture of me across from Rogan and me across from Gary Vee, this other guy.
No, that's
but
awesome.
I want to update it because I want to get Theo Von and I want Post Malone. He would be
dude, Post Malone is one of the most genuine people I've ever met. Like
you met him?
No, I haven't met him.
That would be
genuine
dope.
People that I've like seen.
Dude, get this. My buddy Joe, I've said this before, but he played a private show while Post went to Anderson Reserve for Post Malone, like for 2 hours.
That's crazy.
And he's like, oh yeah, he's like, he would come up, he's like, dude, you're doing so fucking good. And they chatted and stuff. And Post Malone got his number. I was like, holy shit. I think you and I
talked about this.
Yeah. Fucking
that's
nuts.
Super cool.
Yeah. But he was talking about the show and Joe's like, he's like, I know this would be crazy, but if you ever need anybody to open up for you or anything. And he's like, oh, seriously, man? Yeah. Like, but Joe is phenomenal. Like, he's not just like some idiot playing. I mean, he is just like unreal.
Yeah, that's cool.
He's probably one of the best, if not the best, like musicians in Boise, I feel. But
that's awesome.
So I'm like, dude, you deserve to like find those kind of connections and shit.
And like Post Malone, like the man is insanely talented.
So good.
He can do every genre. Like he freaking made a song with Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
Like that's nuts.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because he was cool. Like he was like hip hop, but he's done some rock and roll, the country.
Yeah,
but I guess he used to sing country before he even blew up in hip hop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like there's some old shit.
That's awesome.
But yeah, like a guy who's just chasing it super early, and he's obviously really talented and stuff. But
to get recognized by Post Malone is huge.
Oh fuck,
that's huge.
Yeah, but yeah, so like part of my plan is to like just get good at it. Like I'm realizing I'm just like, dude, I'm still like the podcast, my fucking mics didn't work. You know, I'm like, dude, I'm still dealing with dumb shit, right?
Yeah.
But like get good at it, get consistent, which I'm working on this year is just consistency. And then like put together, I have like a list of like all my friends that I want on. And then I have a list of people like, this would be a get. Like,
I can't wait till you're famous and I can be like, yeah, I was on his podcast.
Dude, we can come back on too. You can, you know, maybe you can like create your own sort of like slap dick, you know, hats, and then we can like sell a bunch.
I really wish I was smart enough to come up with that because like there's a lot of people. This one guy last night, he was hammered, but he was like, yeah, like you're doing really good with your business. And I was like, dude, I'm not clever enough to have this. I was like, but this would be sick if I was like.
Yeah. Well, if you hang around enough clever friends, that if somebody comes up with the idea, all you need to do is be like, hey, can I use this idea? I'll give you 10% or whatever.
Yeah.
And you just need to implement it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a freaking degree in business management, but I'm not really an entrepreneur. Like I'll be there and like partner with someone, but coming up with that, like I've had friends that start their own businesses and it's just, that's a lot of shit. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Well, if you, do you know who Alex Ramosi is?
Mm-mm.
He's a business like guru. He's definitely for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
But he's just like, everybody thinks they need to come up with some really good idea to start a business.
Yeah.
But he's like, most likely your first business is going to fail. So he's like, hey, you should just start selling things that people already buy.
And no, it's so smart.
Then it's just like you will learn all the things along the way. You can come up with an idea in 10, 15 years, but you need to learn how to run a business.
Right.
I was like, oh yeah. Like, yeah, that's how I would always feel. Like, well, I don't have something I want to do. I was like, you got to sell something that.
Yeah. And that's like kind of one thing. So the job I have now, I work in like crop insurance, and it was kind of a job that I applied for and was just like, yeah, I'm not going to get this.
Yeah.
And I still tell my like regional manager to this day, I'm like, I don't know how I got this. But he was just like, when you come into something, especially when it's something new, whether you're starting a business or starting something, like you just have to have confidence in yourself and like confidence what you bring to the table. And like, that was just something that he was like, yeah, like this is why you got it. So
yeah,
but
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Are you learning a lot?
Yeah. Crop insurance is a whole freaking animal. Like it's its own thing, but I'm super stoked because there's so much opportunity in this.
Yeah.
And like, I see how much like work that my regional does or work that my VP does of our region. And it's like, yeah, I want to do that one day.
Yeah.
Like I want to get to their level to a point. So, and it's nice because like I'm the youngest one in industry, like in our company. Yeah. So yeah, it's super cool.
Are you doing sales?
Yeah, so I'm like a marketing rep right now.
Okay.
But
dude, you fit the description of like one of the best salespeople. It's just like hot blonde. Like,
they're me like, yes.
And you still got that kind of like, I don't know, I still date rodeo boys vibe.
Yeah, dude, unfortunately. Yeah, that is unfortunately my fucking type. It's so dumb.
What's the nickname for that?
Buckle Bunny.
Buckle Bunnies. Yeah. Dude, that's such a good fucking name. I think
it is a very good name. It is a very good name.
Man, I'm gonna have to come up with a name for girls that are only into podcasters when I'm like podcast famous. It has to be one. Normally they're like into comedians, but you know, podcast pussies.
Pod sluts. Pod pussies.
I love alliteration, man.
Oh yeah. No, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm sure there would be one coming out.
Yeah.
Because there's one for every like sport. There's one for every like blue collar or something like that.
What do they call the driver ones? No, not lot lizards.
That is driving, just a different type of driving.
Ivy told me what it was.
No, Ivy actually is like, she knows a lot of them.
Yeah.
Like when we were talking about it one day and I was like, Jesus, like, I only know like buckle bunnies and like puck sluts and stuff.
Oh,
like
yeah,
shit
that's
like
a
that.
good one.
Yeah, there's one for fucking every
puck sluts.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were before we broke traveling. Friends.
Yeah.
All over the place.
Yeah. So I was actually thinking about it. I was like, I hope I'm not leaving anyone out. But the only like really like I've got friends in Boise, obviously, but like Ivy and my roommate are like, they've known me for a very long time. They've been through a lot of shit with me. Where they're the only ones that are in Boise. Like I've got two friends that are twins, and they're like I'm really close with them. I just haven't known them for super long.
Sure.
But everyone else is everywhere. Like I've got one in Utah, Montana, two in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just everywhere. So it's like I understand where you're like, I want to just make a trip to see them.
Yeah.
Like I just want to be there to just see them at least.
There's another thing. I am not good at this. My sister's better at it, but if you can do it maybe once every 2 years where you just organize like an all-inclusive and be like, hey, would you guys want to do this next? You have to have a lot of advance and stuff, but like, now we all just meet. We're all having fun. We all blah, blah, blah. And
that's like so obviously for like end of this month, I'll be seeing one of my friends, and then I'm staying with my other friend.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like boom right there, you know? Yeah. And then in fact, on Friday, I sent a message to my friend that lives in Montana and I said, hey, do you want like, let's get together this year.
Yeah.
Like we get together like once a year, but we still talk every day.
Yeah.
So it's just like fun to catch up. Yeah.
I have realized, again, shout out my sister for this because she taught me a lot about how to build friendships, but it's like, if you don't put the effort in, they're not going to. Mm-hmm. And it's not like some people think of that as like a negative, but in reality, that's who I was. That's how you are naturally. It's just like you forget. So to really maintain friendships, you literally have to put in like, I need to make sure to reach out. My sister's really good at this as well. Both of them. Sorry. My oldest sister is too. And it's like, she is always the one who calls me. She, you know, and then,
That's awesome.
and then I'm like, oh yeah, if she didn't call me every month, would I have called her? You know, it's just like, I'm the one who's slacking off.
Yeah, no,
and
same.
she's so intentional. She's like, put intention. And so it's just like thinking about, oh, if I was going to go, when I was done with Severo, me and Ian and Todd and a couple other guys were talking about a trip to Nashville. And I was telling Severo, he's like, dude, could I come? I was like, yeah, I should have actually thought of that. I was like, oh, like, let me think of who else would benefit from like, oh, well, why don't you just meet us here? Sure. And then it's like, two birds stoned at once, you know?
And I'm kind of the same way. Like, my brother calls me at least once a week, but so he's older than me and he just got divorced 2 Septembers ago.
Oh, dang.
So he usually calls me about dating advice. I'm like, dude, I'm not the one to talk about. I'm fucking single. Like, been single for like almost 2 years. But it's like, he calls me once a week, but it's kind of the same thing. Like, hey, if he hadn't called me, would I call him?
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, I need to be better about that.
Yeah. It is funny too how sometimes certain life situations do bring you close again. Or like, I wasn't close with my brother until I started drinking. And
Isn't that weird?
Yeah. Then I was like, oh, we can go out. And now like me and my brother and my middle sister are the closest.
Yeah.
And my other siblings, we aren't as close because one has a family super religious. The other one has a family super religious.
Gotcha.
They live different spots. So all these things just kind of like pulled us apart. But then me and Justin and Lindsay became more black sheep. We drank. we don't like religion. And then we're like, oh yeah, we started bonding.
Yeah.
And then,
And it's kind of crazy. Like, I would have thought like our dad passing away would have brought us closer. But it was literally his divorce, and he called me and he was like, dude, I'm at rock bottom. Like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck. Like, and that, like, hearing that from your older brother, like someone you look up to, it's like, I just want to take all the stress off. Like, put it on my back. I don't want you to feel that way, you know? But he's doing good now, but it was weird. Like, the situations, like big life changes that really brought us together.
That shit has to be like some of the biggest, like losing parents or losing a loved one in general, but parents are huge, or like a sibling would probably be really, really hard.
Yeah.
And then losing literally the person that might not only father your children or mother, but also it's like you had dreamt of this your whole life. You wanted it. You finally got this thing that you had, then you have this lifelong plan, and all of that goes to shit. And you're just like, what the fuck?
And that's exactly what he was like. And I'm not going to go into much detail, but like, they were together for 6 years before they even got married. Because he was like, I don't like, because his mom and our dad got divorced, and then my mom and our dad got divorced. So it was like, Cody was like, I don't want to follow in that, like, his footsteps, you know? And then it was just like, he had 2 major life deaths in his life. And then like that same year she left him, and it was just, Cody was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, he was like, I thought, and that's something that he talked to me about. He's like, I thought that, you know, I made the right decision. I was like, dude, you can't change people. Like, if they're going to make that decision, then you just need to let them.
Well, some of the things that I think that probably I am jaded, which is one of the reasons why I don't want to get married. And, you know, and so I can recognize that. That doesn't mean I necessarily have any desire to change.
Yeah.
But, like when my youngest sister got married, it was right after my parents got divorced. My uncle and his wife had cheated on him. My brother got divorced, all in this course of like, I don't know, 2 years. And then Lindsay's like, I'm getting engaged. And I was like, could you please just wait a second? Like, did you not just see any of this?
Yeah.
And then she was divorced a year later, and I was just like, oh my God.
No, it's hard.
Like, but all that to say, I mean, I think that there's still people that like work out and stuff, but I can understand how like those kind of things just make you like, okay, I have to be more cautious.
Yeah.
But in general, like, I don't know, to me, like, nothing is forever, you know? So it's like, whether like, I mean, she could have not left you, but she could have died in a car accident. Like,
it could have been 10 times worse.
There's always, but like in general, it's like nothing is forever in this life anyway. So it's like at some point things will end, whether it's a friendship, whether it's, you know, like all the success you had and all or your health or whatever. And so it's just like, that's why you should be thankful for the things you have while you have it, etc. But fuck, dude.
And that was like, and now he's finally getting over it, and like he's got a girlfriend, he's happy and stuff. And it's something that I've kind of like learned in like therapy, because it's like, my ex-fiance is very codependent. Like he's had a girlfriend like throughout the entire 2 years that we broke up. Like he basically got a girlfriend a month after I moved home.
Yeah. Just
and so it was
rolling
like
those feelings onto the next.
Oh fuck. And so it's just, but it's like, fuck, maybe that, because losing a parent is the hardest thing you can ever go through.
No.
And so it's like, if you don't have a partner that's not going to be there for you, then you need to get out.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of like the last blow.
Yeah.
Because like, he didn't even go to my dad's funeral.
That's fucking insane.
And we were engaged. Like it was huge. And so, I mean, my brain immediately like shut off. Like I was just like not all feeling for him, but I was just like, yeah, I don't want this anymore.
Yeah.
And I fought myself for like 5 months over it.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
isn't it crazy how long you hold on to things? Yeah. Like not you, I mean,
no,
everyone.
But like, yeah. And I was like talking myself out of it. I was like, Haylie, come on. Like, dude, you're engaged to this guy. Like you're fine. Like you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, yeah, it's just not there anymore. And so, but it's one of those, it's like, he can move on and do all like that shit. And I think for me, it's like, yeah, I went through one of the hardest things. So now I have this weird like wall up.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to just get with some Joe Blow.
Yeah.
Like,
for
I don't
sure.
know. And that's a whole trauma thing. I mean,
yeah.
But
that's one of those things that's always really hard for me. Or I feel like some people are like, oh, I don't want to get into a relationship till I've gotten to a certain place, like whether I've healed enough or become a better person. But at the same time, like, yeah, but you're always going to have stuff to process, like your entire life. You're always 100%. So like you can't. There has to be a balance there, you know. Like it is good to wait and like kind of work through your shit,
right? But
there's always going to be more shit to work through.
And like, I mean, I definitely have not been single this whole 2 years. I mean, I've had like flings and stuff, but
slap dicks,
yeah. But it's like, I guess I just haven't found that person that's like, yeah, I want to settle down with you. Like, let's get into actual like serious relationship.
Dude, I gotta read you this thing. Speaking of all that shit that my sister just sent me, I thought it was really good. It's this post from this therapist, but this reminds me of that. So it's called The Half-Inch Problem: How the Wrong Fit Can Ruin Your Life. So when you buy a new pair of shoes, they look great. They feel decent. They were on sale. So you convince yourself that an extra half inch of space isn't a big deal. You grow into them, or maybe thicker socks will help. It's fine. But then a few months down the road, you notice you're walking a little differently. Your toes grip the inside of the shoe to keep it from sliding. Your gait is slightly off. Your posture has adjusted. Your back feels tight. Now you wake up every morning with a dull, persistent ache in your lower back that you swear wasn't there before. All from a half inch. It's the accumulation of small discomforts. So like that's not a crisis, but like you do that in relationships. So basically it goes into
it's just like settling.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, like, well, it's almost there, but it's not there enough. But that creates this massive ravine. It's just like, oh, you should have just waited,
right?
Or but like, no, that's not. It's like if it's not a fuck yes, it's a hell no. So it's like it's not. Maybe it's like, oh, it's I think it's all right. It's like, no, then it shouldn't be a no.
And it's the same thing with like
no Joe Blow,
like manipulators. Like you see like a red flag and you're like, oh, like it's fine, like not a big deal. And then next thing you know, you're like fucking a year in, you're brainwashed, and you're like, gee, I don't actually want to be with you. Like, what am I doing? You know? But it's just that thing. It's just like the little and then steps.
I feel like I do think there's a lot of life pressures that start squeezing. I guess like. Obviously, for a girl, there's the clock. And so then it's like when you start hitting this level, you're like, fuck, dude, but I don't have a lot of time. And then that forces a settle. Yeah. Or like if you're in a shitty relationship, like, or it's gotten shitty, but you're like, dude, if I throw this away now, I'm throwing away these 5 years.
So it's like, fuck, I wasted all of that.
But then they end up wasting 2 more years. Yeah.
So like, and that's like the shitty thing. It's like, I don't think it's necessarily wasting it. I think it's a learning experience.
Right. That's the way to look at it.
Yeah. Like, because if I looked at myself fucking 5 years ago, I would have been 23. So it's like, even if I wasn't in a relationship, like I wouldn't necessarily call that wasted, because like I still learn shit. Yeah. So it's like the same thing if you're in a relationship. Like you're going to learn shit that you don't want with your next partner.
Yeah. I've thought about that with relationships. Like I'm not even looking to get married, but there's like this idea when you're young that you're like, oh, I just want to meet like the first girlfriend. You're like, you want to get married.
I want to be married by this time. I want to have kids. Yeah.
If you were to really think about it, it's like business failing. Like your first one's never going to succeed. So it's like you should be in these relationships, and it is going to hurt. But you're going to learn from it. You're going to learn the things that you don't want. You're going to learn how to be better. And it's like if you were to meet the perfect one first, you're almost guaranteed going to fuck it up. But it's better to have a couple other ones along the way. And then you're like, oh, I learned what I like to do better, what I don't, what I can accept, what I can't.
Yeah. And it reflects on you, yourself, and your partners. Like, okay, I was a piece of shit over this. Like, I need to work through that for my next relationship. Yeah. Or it's like, I don't want that in my partner. Right. So it's like a double-edged sword. Like, you're learning both sides.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my first relationship, I thought I was just such a good boyfriend. And in some ways, I mean, I did like good things, but looking back on it, I was like, holy shit, I was so jealous. I was so controlling. And
you just had no idea at the time.
And I was dating like a girl that was 23. I was 28 or 29, but I was expecting her to act my age when she was acting her age. And I was like, why were you punishing her for acting her age? Which is so stupid.
But it is hard to like realize that before, right? In the time of, it's usually after you're like, probably could have done that better.
I gotta pee. King of beers.
I didn't realize Budweiser even made a non-alcoholic beer.
Dude, they all do now. There's like I think it's the younger generation. There's like less drinkers, but basically I think sobriety has gained a huge popularity. Yeah. Which is really good. Yeah. Because like American culture is like way on the sauce in general. Yeah. So it is good to have a culture of like, we don't need that so much. But so all these companies are realizing, if we're going to lose out money. So we need to figure out a way to get them something. Well, and
especially beer. Like a lot of younger generations are drinking more seltzers than they are beer. Right. So that's why probably beer companies are like, fuck, we got to do something because we're going to lose it.
And also like even White Claws have like a non-alcoholic. Which I'm like, so LaCroix, but
White Claws are trash. They're so gross.
I drink any of them, but it's mainly just because when they all popped off, it's just every girl I've ever really been with is like White Claws or like parties, house parties, whatever.
Because White Claw was like one of the first seltzers, and I'm not gonna lie, like I drank it when I was like in my early 20s, and they're just gross. Yeah. They don't taste good. They get the worst hangovers.
Really?
Yeah, that's just my opinion.
So you get less hangovers with these though?
Yeah, because these don't have any sugar in them.
Oh, I got you.
So like sugar usually is what makes terrible hangovers.
Yeah. Yeah, I normally I'm a beer guy, and so I do miss beer when all I do is hang out with people that drink White Claws or seltzers. So it is like I'll get like Natty Lights or whatever. But and then I just drink straight tequila and stuff.
Yeah, and like usually I bounce between these and like Michelob Ultras. Yeah. Like recently I've kind of got over these and then started drinking Ultras, but I was like,
do you like the tequila ones of those?
I don't like tequila. Yeah.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. I got ruined when I was like 21 and just never really got back into it. Like
dude, that's good that you don't have like that much of an issue drinking. If I feel like if I would have started drinking heavily at 21, I would be definitely full blown alcoholic.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's when me and Ivy became friends. And like she lived downtown, so we were fucking feral rats running around downtown Boise. But I think it was after like Utah and like just after moving to Texas and stuff, like I was just like, I don't like, obviously I'll drink like socially. Yeah. But
I crave or like my goal is to figure out a level of drinking that is probably like to your level where like, I'll get shit faced here and there when I'm with my friends, or I'll just have a few when I'm out with people, but nothing crazy. Yeah. And I do think I can get there. It's just like slowly but surely, like I've been doing a lot of these fucking challenges or whatever. Yeah. But then I'll like turn it back on. And like I was talking to my therapist about this too. She's like, well, you have the ability to self-regulate. You clearly are showing yourself that. So you just need to start applying that into your everyday time when you're not on.
Yeah, whatever. I would say not just in this challenge. Like if you can do 75 hard, you've got a really good like mental, like it's a mental challenge.
Yeah, like mental fortitude. Yeah. And that is helping me build these discipline things, so where you're like, you do shit when you don't want to do it. You still do it,
And that's like something that, I mean, like I said, I was only on it, but it's changed my lifestyle. Yeah. So I think that's kind of the whole point of the challenge.
Yeah. And I feel like going back to relationships, if you want a person that has like, you have a set of standards for the person that you want, but like, how is that person going to want to be with me when I'm still being a piece of shit? Or, it's like, I need to be enacting the things that like, I want a girl who's fit and into fitness. So like, how can I say ask that if I'm a lazy piece of shit? No, like you need to be on your fucking grind. Like I want a person who is like growing constantly. So if I want somebody who's growing, who's learning, who's listening to podcasts or reading books, well, I would be like a hypocrite if I wasn't actively growing and learning. That,
but not doing it myself.
Right. Yeah. So, and that like, I think that for a lot of people that get to those places where like, fuck dude, like I have so many guy friends, they're just like, I don't know if I'm ever going to find a girl. And it is sad. Like there is like I feel like there's a shift in culture. I think, what's his name? That Canadian guy talks about it, where like feminism through like the last 100 years has brought forth a lot of like progression for women.
A lot of strong women.
So strong women, they can support themselves. They can, they have jobs. More women are in college than men, so they're getting these jobs. But like that doesn't make a woman want a lesser man. They still want a stronger man. So now they've elevated themselves to be like on the playing field, but they're like, but I still want a man up here who's a fucking like leader and like ambitious and this, which means there's a lot less men.
People down here.
So like at the end of like the day, I'm just like telling like any of my friends are like, I feel like I can't, like, dude, you need to better yourself. Like you need to become a guy that a woman would want to be with. You can't just be like, I would be such an amazing boyfriend if I could just find somebody. And meanwhile you're playing video games and eating shit or whatever.
Well, and it's like, that's something that I was talking to my therapist about last week. Like, cause she was like, what do you not want in a next partner? And I was like, I want someone who's driven, who has goals, and who's going to meet me in the middle. Like, I don't need someone up here, and I sure as hell don't need someone down here. Like, I'm not going to take care of someone. Like, I'm 28 years old. If you're an adult man, take care of yourself. Like, have your own job. Like, if you can, and I don't even want someone that's above me, but it's like, if you can equally bring the same amount of shit that I'm bringing to the table, then let's talk. But it's like, I'm just tired of the bullshit. And you're 100% right. In fact, I read a statistic that was very similar to that. Like, a lot of women aren't dating because they're like, I don't want to deal with bullshit.
Right.
Like, I have an education. I've got my own, like, people are like, I have my own house, like, blah, blah, blah. I don't need a man. And it's like, a lot of men, especially like insecure men, get offended by that. Well, you don't need me. It's like, no, I don't need you, but I want you in my life. And I think being wanted is way more important than being needed.
Yeah, of course.
Because like, I feel like after, like you said, the half inch, like throughout time, if you're a man that a woman needs, over time, you're going to have a lot of pressure on your back. Like, fuck, she's asking me for this, or I need to work more so she can pay for, like, and I don't think a man or a woman, this isn't even like a feminism thing anymore. I don't think you should need someone.
Right.
Like, if you want someone, that's a way bigger compliment, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, that book I read, The Gap versus the Gain, they talk about it because it's like, it talks about getting rid of the word need and replacing it with want. Because like, when you need something to happen for your happiness, or you need this to feel fulfilled. Versus like, no, like I can, like in the case of like relationships, like, no, I'm very happy by myself, but it would be awesome to have somebody who supplements me,
Yeah. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and because I was like, talking to her about trauma bonding, because she lost
What's trauma building?
That sounds dangerous.
That's what my dad called it. What he was doing to me.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, no shit. But I asked her, I was like, did you ever trauma bond? Because she lost her mom 4 years ago, and I lost my dad too. And I was talking to her about my ex, and I was like, did you ever trauma bond? Like, I'm just, being introduced to the concept. And she was like, yeah. And we were talking about it. And she goes, yeah, but Haylie, like, I understand that you want something serious, But you also have to think about all the things you're going to give up when you're single or when you're not single.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was like, you can't just, blip off to a rodeo on the weekend and not tell anyone.
Right.
Like there's that. You're going to lose. She's like, you're not going to lose the friendship, but you're going to lose like the relationship with your roommate.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you live apart from each other, things change. Like it's not like it changes the friendship, but I'm not going to see her every day.
Right.
And it's like, I don't want to necessarily say you're going to lose freedom because that just sounds like a negative thing. But like you do lose a lot of stuff, but you're also gaining stuff.
Right. It's the way there's pros and cons. You want, but.
And she's like, you gotta just think about it. Like enjoy the shit that you're doing now.
Too, get the girlfriend, but also have all the freedom and you do whatever you want.
And I mean, there is that too, but like
that has its own sets of negatives too, because you have to let them do the same. You have to deal with the fucking jealousy and insecurity. Yeah, it's not cake. So it was that was kind of a whole, kind of like a reality, like a different view on it, I guess. Like you could either be sitting there, upset that you haven't found the person or you feel lonely or whatever. But it's like, you also have to look, like, it's like a reverse psychology. Like you have to look back kind of what you're going to lose as well. Yeah. And just be able to live in the moment of, okay, I enjoy this and this, but I'm not going to have that if I have a relationship. So it's like, it'll happen when it happens. Yeah. But I mean, it is like, these are some of those like isms that people always say, like, you always find it when you're not looking for it. And I hate when people say that. But God, like some of this stuff is like, I personally believe for anyone who does want a long-term relationship, like, dude, you have to, like you said, enjoy just being you. Yeah. And if you can find a lot of meaning and really good friendships and realize like how much you have, right? Right. And then you're like, I'm just going to keep working on me and then I'm just going to keep enjoying my life. But like, then when you do find somebody, like that's just an added bonus instead of like this, if I don't get it, I'm miserable. Yeah. Once I get it, it solves all my problems. Reaching, then you're never going to be satisfied. Yeah. And if you get it, it's like you might be happy for a second, but it's not going to solve all of your issues. No. Like you still have your own shit to deal with and like whatever. 100%. Oh. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I feel like I deal with it a lot more with like my ambitious goals because I'm not like looking for a marriage partner in the future or whatever. And and I'm dating. So, like I'm very happy with the relationship I have with Cinda. But like, I do feel like so many times I slip into the behavior of I will be happy when I get this success. And I constantly have to remind myself like, dude, you're that doesn't solve anything. Like, and it's not reachable. Yeah. So you have to just enjoy just like, oh yeah, I'm having fun getting to do, like, I'm having fun working on my podcast. I get to learn all these things while I'm growing it. And I get to talk to my friends instead of being like, oh, I'm not there yet, But it's a good mindset that you have because it's like, enjoy the steps. Like, enjoy the baby steps until like to get to where you're at. And because like I'm planning on getting like my rodeo card this year because I bought a horse last fall. Yeah. So that's like a huge thing for me. And it's like, but I kind of want to do it on my own just so I can look back and be like, yeah, I did that. Like, what do you mean do it on your own? Like, so like I've got my own truck, but like I want to buy like a horse trailer. So I can just like grab my horse and just throw him in and then go for a rodeo, like for a weekend. And it's like, I want to be able to do that. I don't want to depend on someone else to help me get there. Yeah. And so it's like, and once you do that, just enjoy the steps. You're going to be surrounded by all your potential ex-boyfriend. I mean, potential ex-boyfriends. No shit. That might be a thing. But that's what you fulfill yourself with a type. Yeah. And it's like, I don't want to have to like find a man like, oh, like, once I find a man, I'll just use his trailer. It's like, bullshit. Yeah. And then you don't have to think about that. If you like started hanging out with somebody, you're like, oh, this guy sucks. You're like, oh, well, then I won't get a trailer because he was bringing that to the table. I'm losing it. Like, I already got my shit. If you don't expect someone to find a partner to bring shit to the table, I think you're going to be way happier. Yeah. And then everything they do bring to the table is bonus. Exactly. And it's nice, but it's like... But you don't need it. Like a girl that is self-sufficient is like, oh, it is cool when he buys my dinner and spends money on me, but I don't need him to. Like, I can totally do it on my own, but it's awesome. Yeah, yeah. And it's the same thing like with, goals. It's like, as long as you don't expect to find a partner to bring for, like, how do I want to word this? If you don't look for a partner that you expect for them to bring something to the table that's going to fulfill you,
then I think you're just chasing an empty dream at that point.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I was trying to word that in a way that like that made sense.
Yeah, I think so. Another thing that I feel, I don't know, me and my buddy Joe on our podcast, we were like, dude, we should teach other dudes this stuff. Cause like he's pretty successful with women, and I feel like I've had plenty of success, but we have a lot of friends who are just like so stuck on like, and
they just don't know where to go, no direction.
Things. And so like, yeah, we could help dudes out. I don't know. We're more kidding, but, and then we're also just shitting on our incel friends. But yeah, one of the things, I like, for example, growing, like I used to read books on like how to get better at like meeting women,
which is huge,
being like more personable, being like a person people would want, you know, just all this stuff. Like, cause I wasn't, and I was a piece of shit. I was lazy. I was all these things. And I was like, I treated it as any other skill. Oh, you just have to learn to get better. But I do think that like learning how to treat a human and to understand human emotions, those are things that you can get better at as well. Or same with like just like communication. People are like, oh, I'm just not good at communicating. I'm like, yeah, you're not yet, but you can get better.
I was gonna say that's a skill you can learn.
Yeah. And then like so one of the books I read was written by a girl. And so she's like, oh yeah, I used to help all my friends like meet women. And she's like, I've helped people find their like future wife and whatever. And so she like started just being a relationship coach / like dating coach. And she wrote this book, but one of the things she was saying was she's just like, you can't meet people at your house. Yeah, you know, like you have to like, and some people are like, oh, I'm not good at being out. She's like, so you have to practice going out, like go to the grocery store every day, even if you need one item. Go to the park all the time, like, and then practice just saying hi to people. Because some people are just like, oh, I don't know how to talk to a stranger.
Introverted.
Yeah. She's like, so you practice talking to people. Just say hi. So could comment on something they, you know, that you like, or strike up whatever.
And it's just an easy, simple like conversation. Those are like the baby steps.
And so, but like some of these guys, so like I thought about it because you're like, oh yeah, I'll be going to rodeos. We're like, but that is where the people that you jive with
100%
are.
100%.
And when people are like, oh, I can't find somebody, you know, that I really want. And I'm like, well, what are you looking for? And they're like, oh, well, I want like a strong Christian man who has his stuff together. They're like, yeah, well, he's not going to be at the bar.
No, and seriously, that's what it is. And like, I don't know. I've had some friends that are like, you need to give up, like, don't just do tunnel vision on rodeo people, or like people that have like the same interest in rodeo. And it's like, well, I'm not necessarily tunnel vision, because like I can look back at the guys I've dated and like some of them aren't in rodeo.
Yeah.
However, I know what I want for a future husband, and I want someone that's gonna like understand and kind of know. So someone that I can learn from and like roping or whatever it is. And it's like, so I don't want to settle.
Yeah.
Like, I don't necessarily think of it as tunnel vision. It's like, no, I know what I want. Yeah. And I know the kind of person that I want. And so I'm going to find them. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to settle for some Joe Blow because I have a good vibe with them.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I've got good chemistry. Doesn't mean that we have a future. Like,
right. Yeah. I feel, I don't know. I used to think for certain people, they're like, oh man, it is like really tough to find somebody. But
and it is tough. Yeah.
I do think it is. But at the same time, it's like, as you learn these things, it's like, you're just weeding out the things that you didn't want 100%. Anyway. Or like, and so you're like, now, like you're in a position where you know what you want. You weren't there 4 years ago. So now, as hard as it seems, it's like, oh, but now you know what you're looking for. You know where to go to find it. Right. You know the things that you are accepting or not accepting.
100%. Yeah.
And there are fucking millions of people out there. So and like there are sometimes people are like, I just can't meet a good dude. And I was like, well, I know I'm a good dude. I know 4 of my friends I can name right now are really good dudes. So I know they're out there. Yeah. Like, yes, I understand they're not every single person, but like, how did I meet really 4 good dudes at a bar at Rudy's? I mean, like, there are good people out there. And so, like, I guess I get encouragement from that. And I've seen a lot of my friends who have wanted marriage, like, finally finding their partner. They're like, oh, look at this. Look at this.
No, that's super cool. Yeah. No, and it's awesome. It's like, and I think a good dude or finding a good woman it's such a broad thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, there are a lot of good people out there, but are you going to mesh with them?
Right.
Are you going to have the chemistry? Like, you can't be like, oh, I just need to find a good dude. Like, there are good dudes out there.
Yeah.
And I tell my friends this all the time. I'm like, no, they're good dudes out there. You're just not vibing with them.
Right.
Or you don't find them attractive. Like whether it's mentally or physically or whatever. And it's like, I've got guy friends that are amazing dudes, but is there any physical or mental like attraction there? No.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like, I don't need that.
Yeah. And then there's the people I used to, like with my sister, I'd be like, yeah, there's tons of good dudes, but you don't like them. You like assholes.
Yes. And that's another thing that, and that's some fucking weird psychology thing that, women that have been hurt, or even men, I don't even want to just limit it to women, but, men or women, if they've been hurt in the past, they've built up this habit of going after pieces of shit.
Yeah. And I knew, like, when I was coming up, I was too nice, and I was like, I had to let a little of my asshole out.
You kind of got to be a dick.
But like, it's just more of like knowing when to give shit, knowing when to like not be a simp and be like, no, like I've decided I'm doing this, and not letting a girl push you around, because like I want a girl who wants a man. And then if I don't act like a man and I act like a little bitch, well then they're not going to be attracted to me.
Yeah, she's going to be like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Dude, the first time I hit a girl, I don't know. I just thought, oh, the little bitch. So like in bed.
You hit a girl?
Yeah, when a girl wants to get smacked in bed.
Oh, I was like, Josh, should we be talking about this right now?
I kind of hit my brain and I was like, this is going to be funny. But I'm into some kinky shit, but I never like slapped a girl or hit a girl. And
that's wild.
Like, I would never do it.
Yeah.
And the first time I did it was this girl I dated during COVID, and she's like, we were talking about what each other likes, and she's like, I like to be hit, and I was like, no. And she's like, yeah.
I think I remember you telling me this, and you're like,
well, no, I didn't. I because she's like, all I'm saying is like, that's what I like. So if you want to give me what I like, that's what you give me. And then I was like, fuck, dude. I'm like, I'm gonna have to work up to this. And she's like, okay, well, I'm just telling. She's like,
you're like, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah, that's what I said. But then she goes, but when you do it, don't be a little bitch about it. And so I was like, fuck me, dude.
You're like, this is a lot of pressure right now.
Yeah, but I did fucking hit her the first time.
Yeah, I think I remember you
and then she's like, that was good.
Yeah, you're like, I like that. I remember you telling me that, because you were like, I don't fucking know what to do here.
Dude, it goes against like the grain of what I would like believe in
all
or want.
Morals. Like, you don't want to hit anyone.
But I mean, it's just like, at the same time, it's just like, dude, do I want to be a man and give her what she wants, or do I want to like
be a man and not hit her?
Like, what kind of man do you want to be? What kind of
man am I? Like, what line am I standing on here?
I chose violence.
Yeah, I chose violence. Whack.
Oh man, yeah,
that's funny.
That is funny. But yeah, like in general, if you're not gonna, I don't know where we were before. I was gonna say like, I don't want to be like somebody who gets pushed around.
Yeah, you don't want to be a simp.
Yeah, and I think I definitely didn't attract girls before, because I was just like, whatever you want, oh, like, can I do anything for you? And all the time, I'm just being a simp. And like,
yeah, and women don't like. Some women want that, but some women don't.
And if they want it, it's like they want it for a while until they get bored.
Yeah,
and then you get cheated on or something.
Yeah, key break.
Yeah. There was this one like Rudy's Snap group or whatever.
I think I remember that. I wasn't in it.
I left it. I was like, dude, I cannot handle this.
I think Emma and Ivy were in it at some point though.
Yeah.
I don't think I was ever in it.
There are pretty good. There's when I worked at 10 Barrel, and they had a group thread. And they used it it was still annoying, but like at any given Friday, Saturday, people would text be like, hey, I want to get lunch, who's in? And then you have this core of 20 people, and then you get a few people, and then they go. So that is nice in that environment. When I started working there was like most of the people that worked there were on it, but not everybody. And they're like, well, you have to get invited, but like once you get accepted, you have to send nudes. And they had made such a big deal about it that there was this.
Did people actually do it?
So they were showing me, and these 3 girls, when they joined, they did like a sexy photo shoot, and they did like lingerie or like nude but like covered. Yeah. And they did this whole thing just for this thread. So like people took it like pretty seriously and creative.
Wild.
And I was like, dude, I had already been in other group things. So I was like, dude, I don't want to get blown up all the time. I don't care. I don't want it.
Yeah.
So they finally invite me, and so they add me to the group, and then immediately all these numbers start texting nudes. And I just went into the bathroom and I took a picture of the whole of my penis, like straight on, like really close up. just like open. Yeah. And sent it. They're like, what the fuck?
You're like, that's my dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was my introduction to like everybody.
Would they think it was hilarious?
Yeah. I mean, some people are just like, who is this guy? Like, who, like the balls on him. But yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, don't ask and then get mad at the result.
Yeah, and it was like a very debaucherous culture. You know, like some people definitely send like actual nudes and stuff.
That's
I guess
crazy.
On it. But yeah, I was like, Annie, you can't time this to. I mean, my nudes are out there. Like they'll like, never running up for president. But yeah, that was pretty funny though.
Yeah, that is wild. That's a wild text thread.
Yeah, dude, fucking restaurant industry is fun. Though.
Oh yeah,
like.
It's a whole fucking world.
I've been so in and out, like in, out, out. And every time I'm out, I'm like, dude, I miss it.
No, seriously. If I didn't live so far away from Rudy's, I'd probably work at Rudy's again.
Yeah. Where do you live now?
I live in Marsing.
Oh, that's right.
So it's about, it's about, with construction today, it took me like probably an hour.
Yeah, it did make you come out.
Like 45, 50 minutes. But dude, not bad.
One of these days, though, I would love to do, I like doing podcasts on location. Yeah. And so I'll be like, it'd be cool to do it on a winery out there or something.
Dude, and we live right across the street from a winery.
Really? Which one?
Koenig.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's very pretty out there.
Oh, yeah. Just the road, like getting to our house, it's like, there's wineries all over the place. I
had an idea yesterday. I don't know. I would like to do one at a bar sometime. And I might do one at Cindy started working at LDG, you know, Little Dutch Garden down there. It's like in the neighborhood in the south of Oberlin.
Oh, that's wild.
But for some reason they always have cute bartenders, but it's just like this hole in the wall. It's a lot of old.
I was gonna say I would have never thought that there's
like super divey.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like one of the oldest bar, and they like grandfathered into the neighborhood, so it's just like this neighborhood and this bar. But she's like, oh yeah, you should podcast with the owner. It'd be cool to do it like at the bar, but it has to be like somewhat quiet where there's not like the music is just blaring through. But then I was like, dude, I should do one at Rudy's and just like go to like table 38 or whatever. And then do one with either one or two of my friends from Rudy's, but also just have people come in and be like, yeah, just come sit down.
No, that
and,
would be sick.
Chit chat.
Yeah. And that would be awesome. So Koenig's, I don't know if you've ever been there, but they've got like this tower. So like, you can obviously like the wineries down here, but then they've got like this tower and there's like seats up there.
Oh, whoa.
It'd be pretty fucking sick. I mean, you'd probably have to like block the wind out a little bit.
Yeah.
But like you can see the whole valley of Marsing.
Dude, that's wild.
You should look at, that would be pretty sick.
Yeah. I wonder if I just need to rent it out or if.
Yeah. I'm sure if you just rent the table out, because it's literally just like one table up there.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be really cool. Yeah. I did want it in a winery in Pennsylvania. That's the one I fell asleep in, but it was pretty cool to see that like it was just like big wooden beams and stuff, like this huge room or whatever.
There's also one I think it's Saint Chapelle.
I've been there, I think.
Yeah, have you ever been upstairs? So they've got like these,
I think so,
the windows, and you can like see the whole valley. That would be pretty sick too.
Yeah, that's definitely something I want to do. Dude, I saw, speaking of locations, I watched a Mr. Beast interview. Do you know who that is? The YouTuber. He just posted something. He's like, I have the pyramids rented out this certain time. What do you guys think about me and Rogan on the top of a pyramid? And
is that even legal?
I don't know. I think somehow like,
because I thought you can touch the pyramid.
Me too, but apparently not. I'm not really sure. But
wild.
Apparently he's like Rogan said he's down if he can swing the dates.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, that would be like the most epic podcast. I mean, it's like two of the biggest people out there.
But I was gonna say they're hugely known.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That'd be wild.
Dude,
I'd watch that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
100%.
Rogan's definitely like my role model as far as podcasting.
Rogan's pretty cool.
I just like him in general.
Do you remember when he used to do Fear Factor?
I never watched Fear Factor.
Oh my God. Yeah. He was the host in Fear Factor.
Yeah. It's nuts that I know. I remember in high school, my friends telling me about Fear Factor and I never watched it.
Yeah. I watched it. Me and my parents watched it like all the time.
That's so wild.
Like every time, I don't even know what day it came out, but like we would watch it every week that it came out.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I just saw a clip. And I'd heard Rogan talk about it, but he said he's like, before he ever started the podcast, Tom Green was doing something like of that nature. You know, Tom Green from the Tom Green Show and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And he went, he's like, I go over to his house and he just has 2 chairs and this little studio set up. And he's like, we're just going to talk. And he's like, what? That's crazy. And so I just saw a clip surfacing of that first podcast. He's super young. And he's just like, dude, crazy. He's like, this is amazing. You're cutting out like the gatekeepers and all these production companies, and you get to say whatever you want. You talk about whatever you want. And he's like, if you could figure out a way to make money from this, that would be cool. And that was the inception of Rogan starting.
Isn't that crazy?
And then he just like, yeah, we just got a computer and used the computer cameras. Like me and my friends talked. And like we just kept doing
huge.
it.
Well, look at fucking Alex Cooper.
Yeah, yeah.
Alex Cooper's huge right now. And like I remember me and Ivy started listening to her when her and her ex-partner were on like Call Her Daddy.
Yeah, yeah. I remember.
And now she's
Ivy
like
telling me about her.
She's like interviewing the ex-vice president.
Right,
like
right.
that's mad, like huge.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, dude, we just started at like we lived in a fucking one bedroom studio basically.
Yeah. Dude,
it's just crazy.
Speaking of what you said before about just applying to places, even if you don't think you're going to get them, I will do my best to apply to every like bigger podcast. Or I just applied to RC has a friend called Eric Rhodes. He's that DJ that like kind of blew up from Idaho.
Yeah, I know that name somehow. I don't know if I know his face.
He's from here, I think. But he was just like blew up for like he mixes like a hip hop with a country song, or like just
crazy.
All these like really cool vibes. And so he's gotten really big. And RC was telling me the other day, so he told me about him. I started following him. And then RC told me the other day, he's like, yeah, I was trying to get my buddy Eric for Ian's wedding. And I asked him how much, and he's like, well, in town or out? And he's like, in town. And he's like, $8,000. And he's like, holy fuck.
That's a DJ?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
And so he's doing really well.
Yeah.
And he's traveling all over because people book him. You know,
I was saying he can put $8,000 down and someone's gonna pay it.
Yeah, well, insane. And then like because that's the beauty about getting big on social media is like now people see you everywhere. Like, oh, well, they'll pay to get you there to do the thing.
Hey, I saw you on Instagram. Hey, I saw you on TikTok, whatever.
And so he just posted that same night that RC told me the story. I went home and scrolled Instagram and I saw a post that he's hiring a video guy. Sick, and so dude. I was like, fuck yeah, applied to that. And I named RC.
As a reference.
He's just like, yeah, I'm just like, that's how I discovered you. So I figured he would know him. But there's a guy who his name is Lex Friedman, and I applied to his, and
that's awesome.
He's huge. So he interviewed President Trump, or before he got elected, he just interviewed Vladimir Zelensky from Ukraine,
shit.
And he's about to go interview Putin. So this guy is massive time, and he got bigger because he's friends with Rogan. So he's been on Rogan a bunch of times. He's also really smart and really good.
Yeah.
But I was like, dude, if I could work for him, like the amount of people I would meet.
Yeah.
But I realized I'm like, yeah, dude, just shoot, like just keep applying.
Just keep applying.
Like, keep getting better while you're.
The worst thing that they're gonna say is no.
Yeah. And all the meantime, I'm just gonna keep getting better. I'm gonna keep working on my craft, do this, and then the next opportunity, apply again.
And they're probably gonna be able to look at your stuff and be like, oh yeah, this guy actually knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's huge.
So, and then it's just like, instead of getting frustrated that you don't hear from somebody, so no, keep doing what you're doing. And then, you just keep working.
No, and I think you should for sure.
Yeah.
Because like when I was applying for all these jobs, like I was like, the worst thing you're going to say is no. And then I just move on to the next opportunity. Yeah. But like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Yeah. And then I caught one that worked, and I'm way better opportunity than I ever thought I would get.
Yeah. That's why I ask every girl I fuck if I can put it in her butt.
Yeah.
Worst thing they can say is no.
I was like, no.
See, but you gotta at least try.
At least try. Sooner or later, you're gonna catch a winner.
This is why we would have never worked out.
Yeah, this is it. It's the end question.
And I know nothing about. I know about push and rope. That's
push and rope.
That's the only rope I know.
Is it called push and rope? Yeah. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, do you want to talk about anything else? We'll wrap this up.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. That was a good podcast.
Yeah. Is it fun?
Shit, man. Yeah. That was awesome.
Haley, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.